Good afternoon from the newsroom. Some news just in. Emergency services are at the scene of a fatal accident in North Cork. It's understood a mother and daughter have died following a collision between two cars 3 miles from Fermoy on the Ballyduff Road. Road diversions are in place as investigations get underway. Emergency services were called to the scene just over an hour ago. More than 1 million refugees and migrants have arrived in Europe this year, according to the International Organization for Migration. It said the vast majority, some 800,000, arrived in Greece by sea, with the rest spread across Bulgaria, Italy, Spain, Malta and Cyprus. More than half of the refugees are from Syria, with the others coming mainly from Iraq and Afghanistan. The figure is a fourfold increase on last year's total.
The fact that so many of Syrians arriving in Europe are now coming straight from Syria demonstrates that the violence and human rights abuses inside the country are only getting worse, and that the true solution for this humanitarian tragedy must be found inside Syria.
It's been reported that Iraq's armed forces have advanced into the city of Ramadi, which was seized by Islamic State militants in May. The operation to recapture Ramadi began early last month. The head of Iraq's counter-terrorism unit said his forces were moving towards the city's main government complex and clearing residential areas. He said troops and militiamen, supported by US-led coalition aircraft, were involved in the operation to retake the city. Smaller apartments are to be permitted under new planning guidelines published by the Department of the Environment. Minister Alan Kelly said the changes were necessary because not enough apartments are being built, but not everyone thinks it's a good idea.
The new guidelines set the minimum size of one-bedroom apartments at 45 square metres. For 2 beds it will be 73 and for 3 beds 90 square metres. Up until now, the minimum size for a one-bedroom apartment in Dublin City and Cork was 55 square metres. For a 2-bed, it was 90.
The economics in particular don't stack up of the justification for doing this. And from a planning perspective or a planner's perspective, this goes against the grain of consistently trying to improve standards. I mean, we're the only country I know in Europe, particularly in a capital city, where we're intent on reducing the standards for its inhabitants and future inhabitants rather than increasing them.
The Minister argues this move is necessary to increase the supply of badly needed accommodation.
We have made changes to ensure that there can be apartments built, particularly in city centre locations, that are actually affordable. There are a lot of cranes around Dublin city centre at the moment. There's a lot of building going on. That building that's going on is basically office blocks. They're not building apartments. And the reason they're not building apartments is simply this. They are not viable. They're not financially viable. And the facts are, if something isn't financially viable, well then it's not going to be built.
At least half of the units in any new development will have to be 10% bigger than the minimum size. The full guidelines are available on the Department of the Environment website. Coleman O'Sullivan, RTE News.
New measures are being introduced to tackle overcrowding in hospital emergency departments, especially over the Christmas period. The measures were agreed by the Emergency Department Implementation Group. One of the main objectives will be to ensure that patients do not have to wait longer than 9 hours for a hospital bed.
I think what's important about this is it's system-wide. It comes on the back of the work of the Emergency Department Task Force and indeed the Implementation Group around the task force. And it's supported by some investment in bed capacity. 301 additional beds are going into the system. 200 will be in before the end of this year, and another 100 next January, as many as we can early in January. So there is a level of additional support, which is already helping improve some of the trolley numbers in individual sites.
In sports news, Arsenal are second in the Premier League after a 2-1 win over Manchester City last night. Theo Walcott opened the scoring for the home side before Olivier Giroud doubled the lead just before half-time. Yaya Touré pulled one back for Man City, but Arsenal held on to go within 2 points of Leicester City at the top of the table. Ireland's Bertram Allen has lost an appeal against his disqualification from the Olympia Grand Prix in London. This was the 20-year-old in action aboard Quiet Easy. The Wexford man had posted a stunning jump-off time of 30.45 seconds, destroying a world-class field at the London International Horse Show. but blood was subsequently found on Quiet Easy's right flank, prompting Alan's disqualification. The €25,000 first prize was awarded to Britain's Michael Whitaker, riding Viking, who later gave Alan the winning rosette. And finally, for now, in the United States, a choir made up of homeless people and led by an Irishman was invited to sing at the White House yesterday.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go.
The Atlanta Homeward Choir was founded by County Kildare man Donal Noonan. The group gave an impromptu performance on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. ahead of the White House concert. And that's all from the newsroom for now. Very good afternoon to you.